This is Cowboy Shit with Ted and Wacey. Episode 22 is brought to you by the Canadian Finals Rodeo in Red Deer, Alberta, October 30th to November 4th. A week-long celebration of everything rodeo with events on and off site that will have you kicking up your heels. For information, visit cfrreddeer.ca.
Wacey's calling in on the phone today from afar.
Correspondence calling from Saskatchewan.
Calling in from Sask. What's the latest to report from the homeland out there, buds?
It was plus 12, cloudy, off and on, mixed of sun and cloud.
Yep.
It hasn't changed much. It's still pretty the same. I found out today, though, for those of the listeners that know anything about Moose Jaw, there's a hotel called the Prairie Oasis, and it's not your typical hotel. You can rent mobile trailers for an evening.
Really?
You can sleep 10 people. Yeah. And anyways, they used to have this sweet indoor pool with 2 pretty awesome water slides. And I found out today that they're no longer open, the water slides. So that's pretty sad.
Dang.
Yeah. We've had usually because the Moose Jaw has a springboard riding every year in February. And we used to come and all the boys and us, we'd rent one of those trailers at the Prairie Oasis, and it's pretty wild. One year we found a guy sleeping in the snowbank when we got back after the party. Yeah,
like one of your friends or just a guy?
Yeah, you would know Derek Glenn from Manitoba.
You found him in a snowbank. Was he gonna he could have perished? He'd have been killed or worse.
Yeah, he was hammered. It was
oh dear.
I don't know how long he was in there for, but he was having a rough go at it. But
oh dear. At
the end of it, it all worked out. But yeah, it's usually a good time. But yeah,
he was having a bad time.
Seeing the snowbirds today.
You saw the snowbirds
flying around? Yeah.
Oh, it wasn't whatever. It wasn't the old folks going south. It was an actual bird.
The jet planes.
Oh, the snowbirds. What were they doing in Moose Jaw?
They're from Moose Jaw. They live here.
The Canadian Forces snowbirds are from Moose Jaw.
Yeah, man. They have the big air base just south of town in Moose Jaw.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, and that's where the snowbirds live.
Well, that's neat. All of them for all of Canada?
Yeah, they're ripping around.
Really?
This is their home. This is the home base. I think this is the train. I want to say this is a big training facility. One of the ones in Canada. Don't quote me on that, but this is also where I was born.
Moose Jaw.
Fun fact of the day. This is my place of birth.
Where Wacey Anderson came to life.
I was born in the old hospital up on the hill on the south side of town.
Well, that's neat. Have you been to the tunnels of Moose Jaw yet?
Do you want to know something crazy? That's one thing I've never done. Never been to the tunnels.
You were literally born in Moose Jaw, and you have
born and raised Saskatchewan boy, never been to the tunnels.
You emerged from a tunnel in Moose Jaw at one point.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
But never.
That's a fact.
Have been to the actual tunnels of Moose Jaw.
Never physically been to the tunnels of Moose Jaw. No, that's believe it or not.
Oh dear.
Yeah, fun times. But yeah, it's Moose Jaw. It's actually a pretty neat little town. You drive down the downtown. You've been to the
Brown's Social House. Do you like that place? Is it Brown's or it's Brown's, isn't it? Downtown?
There's Brown. Yeah, they got Brown's. They got OJ's. They got the Brew House of Canada. Yeah.
What's the old hotel that's got a really nice restaurant in it?
The Park, maybe.
I'm not sure.
Park. I don't know. I don't really know. I have to ask my dad. He'd know.
Downtown.
They also have the Temple Gardens Mineral Spa.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm. Attached to Casino Moose Jaw.
Well, that's neat.
Quite the community.
Home of the Moose Jaw Warriors.
Home of the Warriors, for sure.
Stole that one right off you.
They have a sweet barn down here, too.
It is a nice arena. Very nice arena. I like it.
Yeah, that's great. It's home of the Burrowing Owl Sanctuary place, too.
Oh, like the Saskatchewan Burrowing Owl? Is this a thing I don't know about, too?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. I don't know. They have this little, observatory with a bunch of burrowing owls. You can go check them out and learn all about those little suckers.
This is what Wacey's doing tomorrow morning, checking out the home of the burrowing owls.
Checking it out.
After he goes to the tunnels of Moose Jaw.
I have a big day tomorrow, damn.
You do have a big day. And then drive all the way back to Cowtown. 6 hours worth.
Yep. Yeah, it's going to be wild.
So how about the CFR coming up?
Creeping up on us, isn't it?
Yeah. Today's the 26th of September, and it starts on the 30th of October. So it's a month and 4 days.
Month away. So, and there's a Halloween perf. I'm intrigued about the Halloween perf.
What are you going to wear for the Halloween perf when you're on the... you're not going to be there because you got to go to school
I might not make it. I'll probably be in school. But if I'm there...
You're going to be done school on what? Thursday. Oh, you can't come up till Thursday after school, right?
Thursday after school. Yeah.
Thursday. You could even make it after work to the rodeo and then go back home for school.
I could. Yeah. I could. That's a fact. I can't tell you what I'm going to dress up as then.
You can't tell me? It's going to be a secret then?
Very, very secret.
I think I'm going to steal my brother's robot costume. I like that.
You can't tell people that. They're going to know.
Well, I don't really care.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's crazy. It's crazy that it's kind of happening so fast because the person is used to it being middle of November. But no, it's going to be an exciting deal. There's some pretty interesting storylines heading into it.
And it's not even over yet. As we record this podcast, we're not even done yet because the grassroots finals are this weekend.
3 rodeos left.
Well, 2. right? Grassroots and Hannah.
Yeah, 3 days of rodeo, I guess.
3
I
days.
should say.
Or 5 days, because Hannah's 3
5
days,
days.
and this is 2.
I don't know anything.
It's okay. It's fine.
It's coming down to the wire.
Oh, yeah.
It's pretty interesting stuff.
Next episode, we'll talk about who's going to be there, who made it, a few things like that, maybe. Or maybe might
who
not
didn't make
either.
it. Some scandals.
Yeah. Talk about some stuff. Some awards. I guess there's some awards. Speaking of awards, now 8-time Canadian Pro Rodeo Announcer of the Year, Brett Gardiner.
The microphone assassin.
The microphone assassin. He's got a black belt in buffet. He's known as the microphone. That's how I opened it up with the interview. He likes it. Really broke the ice.
That's a good way to start it off for sure.
And then he's going to list his top 5 restaurants in all of Canada.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
he's like the Canadian version of Guy Fieri.
Yeah, basically. A little different hair.
Needs to grow his hair out and frost his tips.
Yeah, exactly. So stay tuned for Brett Gardiner's list of the top 5 restaurants on Canadian soil, part of the Canadian Pro Rodeo Professional Bull Riders Tour that he's experienced so far. Find his reviews on TripAdvisor also.
He writes passive-aggressive reviews on Yelp.
That's coming up next.
You're listening to episode 22 of Cowboy Shit with Ted and Wacey, brought to you by the Canadian Finals Rodeo in Red Deer, Alberta, the new home of the Canadian Finals Rodeo from October 30th to November 4th. 10 full days of thrilling Western entertainment. It's a show you don't want to miss. Visit cfrreddeer.ca.
Our guest this episode is 8-time Canadian Pro Rodeo Announcer of the Year from Sylvan Lake, Alberta, the microphone assassin. This is Brett Gardiner. How are you today, Brett?
Hey, I'm doing great, buddy. Man, what a great introduction. I better be careful. You're going to take my job, buddy.
I don't know about that.
Man, thanks for having me on. Looking forward to it.
I appreciate it, Brett. So where did the name the microphone assassin come from? Where did this originate? What is the history behind that handle?
Man, you probably know more than me about that. And I really don't know where it started, to be honest. There's probably a few people out there. Somebody called me that. That's an old handle. That was probably, 6 or 7 years ago. And then I think it started to be a little hashtag kicking around when they would throw some stuff out there. So exactly who coined that phrase, I don't know. It wasn't me. I wasn't the guy that started his own nickname. Okay, let's just get that out of the way. But yeah, I don't know who started that one. Maybe after this episode, somebody will let us know, and we'll know exactly where it started.
Somebody will fess up to it.
That's right. Yeah. Could be worse. I'll take it.
I like it. I mean, there's who I think it was though is Manya. I'm pretty sure it was him. I don't know that for sure, but I have a feeling it was Brett Manya.
And it's when I think of one guy who maybe said it, and again, I could be wrong, but the guy that comes to my mind actually when I think about it is Skylar McBride.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, could be. And Skylar was always a pretty funny guy, pretty witty guy. So,
oh yeah.
We don't see him around as much, but of course we rodeoed a lot together too years ago. So good guy, good family. Maybe
we'll know the origin of the microphone assassin after episode 22. We'll get to the bottom of it.
That's right.
I guess it's another description I left out of your introduction. Like if I was Flint, I would have said 8-time Canadian Pro Rodeo Announcer of the Year. He's got a black belt in buffet. The microphone assassin, Brett Gardiner. Right. Yeah, I missed that line though on that intro. I'm gonna have to do it again.
The black belt and buffet, yeah.
So where did that come from? Or did you coin that term yourself?
You know what? That might have been all my good lines that I came up with are stolen from somewhere. That's announcing that. Probably, again, if I had to guess, geez, I should pay better attention. If I had to guess, a line like that one probably originated from somebody like Doug Young. Doug Young is probably the king of the one-liners. If you listen to some of his stuff, and not necessarily just on a microphone, but just when you're having a chat with him as a friend, I mean, Doug Young has got some of the coolest sayings out there, and probably if I took it from anybody, it was probably a guy like him. But that's just a fun line I like to use. It usually ends up coming out in the steer wrestling for some of those big guys, but I like to think that I also have, a black belt buffet. I'm a bit of a foodie when I'm on the road, so I think I can get away with it because I'm a little husky myself, I guess.
Well, speaking of restaurants, top 5 restaurants on the road, you can kind of wing it a little bit. I didn't give you any training.
That's one of my favorite restaurants is actually in Abbotsford, and I'm lucky enough to go there. My wife's family is from there. My wife was born in Victoria and grew up in Port Coquitlam, and now her folks live in Abbotsford. But one of my favorite spots is a place called Lou's Grill in Abbotsford. That's definitely on my top 5, if not my top 10, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
But that is one of my ultimate favorites for sure. I really like that spot. Man, top 5.
Top 5 anywhere in Canada or the
rodeo
United
related.
States. Anywhere.
You know, one of my favorite spots too. Dustin and Nikki Flunder took me to the general store just south of Pincher Creek.
Yeah, I've heard about this place.
I always get them mixed up if it's Twin Butte or Picture Butte, whichever it is. Just south of Pincher Creek. At the general store there's a little Mexican restaurant, and it is phenomenal. And Brett Money and Randy Thompson and I used to go there after the perf on Saturday night in Pincher Creek and get down there and always have something to eat. Dustin and Nikki spend a lot of time there, too, in that part of the world. So that's a really cool spot, and I like it because it's just in the middle of nowhere. So that would probably be in my top 5. I mean, good food, but, just a cool little setting. So another place we probably always go to, the Honey Pot in Wainwright. I better go top 5 rodeo. So there's a restaurant in Wainwright. When I go there for the Wainwright Stampede, I think I'm there for 4 or 5 days, and I eat there twice a day. That's just the place we go to, which is a great spot. You know what place I love in Calgary is a place called OEB Breakfast. You ever been there?
You know what? I went there once for breakfast, but the place I like just as well that I can usually get into because it's not as busy is Diner Deluxe down like the same street block.
I've heard about that. I've heard about Diner Deluxe, but I really like that OEB breakfast. I always take every about second or third morning. I swing to OEB before we have a production meeting at the Calgary Stampede.
Oh.
And Bob Tallman has become a big fan of OEB as well. So we always check out OEB. That's one of my favorite spots in Calgary. Then I'm trying to think as we kind of move across and go out east. But
what do we got so far? Abbotsford, Pincher Creek area.
Yeah.
And we got Wainwright, Calgary. So you got one more. You only got one more shot here, Brett.
One more shot. Make it good.
One more restaurant. Yeah.
Let's go to Quebec City. And that was some of the best food that I've ever had. When we went out on tour earlier this year, it was the first time that I had ever been to, or should I say, Quebec City.
Quebec.
Quebec. Don't say the city port. They gave me that lesson before I picked up a microphone there and I had to listen. But that is some of the best food I've ever had, in the old Quebec. And I'm going to just say old Quebec because I ate at about 6 restaurants in about a 24-hour period, and I think you were at 3 or 4 of them with me. So you know all about it. We actually, funny story about there in Quebec, there was an ice cream place, and Friday night we had ate, and we were with a mutual friend of ours. We were having kind of a family supper, Peter Jabrad, and you were there, and myself, and Josh Bursey, and a couple others, I think Megan Madden and some other from the PBR Canada team. And Josh Bursey had about a $50 poutine with
the big ham bone on there.
The maple glazed ham shank on it.
Yeah,
it was incredible. And then we went for, what do they have? A gelato. They have all these gelato places and ice cream spots, and the dipped ice cream cones there were just outstanding. And they were so good after the event. The event ran pretty quickly in
Quebec.
At the Videotron Center there in Quebec.
Yeah.
And so I said to Scott Byrne right after the perf, I said, we have got to try and hustle back to get to Old Quebec before this place closes. And I think the ice cream place closed at 11, so I never sprinted out of an event before like that. I just needed one more ice cream before, we got on our 6 a.m. flight back west. So I'll admit it, I'll just get it out of the way. I do have I obviously have a problem. I think I keep it going to the food, The events are so good, but I'm, the food's what keeps me going. So. I'd probably add Quebec to the mix, but and then if I have to, one mention, I'm not a big fan of chain restaurants. It's nice when you can kind of go to a family-owned or a community-owned spot. Honorable mention has got to be Jenny's Diner in Bonnyville, Alberta, of all places. I love that place. It's a neat little place. But if I have to go and just need a solid meal, I'm a big fan of the Keg. I know it's chain, and that kind of goes against my my rules of eating. But I like the Keg. I like the Keg. So that's probably, usually you get a good meal there, and I do frequent the Keg probably too often.
If anyone from the Keg happens to be listening, there might be a potential partnership there with our friend Brett. That
would be phenomenal.
Yeah,
I would proudly endorse the Keg, and I have a feeling the Keg in Red Deer at the CF4 is going to be a busy place from October 30th through the 4th of November.
Well, speaking of restaurants and potential sponsorships, I want to talk about a couple of your sponsors. New one this year is Tomco,
Sure.
and then one that we didn't mention before is Stettler Dodge. You've been partners with Stettler Dodge for a long time. We had Terry Andreo on the show here a couple of episodes ago, and he talked sponsorship. But I want to talk about sponsorship for you and the side of and that side of the business for you. I'd like to speak to that a bit.
You know, I've been lucky. Stettler Dodge jumped on board with me. 2011 was the first time that we ever did what we would, I guess, call an endorsement deal or a partnership. And first truck I ever bought from them was 2008. That's when it really started with me for Stettler Dodge. And it just started out, we'll go way back in time. When I started announcing rodeos, kind of 04, 05 was when I started. And I actually worked the Slack performance, and it was just to help out another announcer. And Maxine Baird was one of the timers. And Maxine said, geez, you might be okay one day. So she hired me and her group and committee at the time to work a bull riding event in Halkirk. And actually, Kelly Hicks with Stettler Dodge was one of the sponsors. And Kelly's wife, Rena, is a very talented singer. And she was singing O Canada, and I got to meet Kelly there. And again, like I had just started, it was kind of 05, 06. And we just kind of struck up an immediate friendship. And he was just a great guy from day one. And so when I needed to buy a truck, he was always in the back of my mind. And then when I went out there in 2008 and bought a vehicle from him, and he just took great care of me, and I really appreciated it. And when I went back in 2011, said, hey, I got kind of an idea. And I said, well, I got an idea. What do you think? And we just came to our first agreement on a partnership, and it's just kind of blossomed from there. So I've been very fortunate to be a part of the Stettler Dodge team, but more importantly, Kelly and Rena and his entire family have become great friends of ours, and we do a lot of things together. And he has just not supported me in my career, but they also are huge supporters of all pro rodeo athletes and the entire CPRA. And they're not the biggest dealership, and they're the first people to tell you that, but they certainly work hard, and I appreciate everything they've done, and not just for me, but my family. And that's what's really important. They take such great care of my wife and my kids when we're there, and that means a lot to me. So I've been very, very fortunate to be with Stettler Dodge, and we're coming on, 8 years together. And I think in our business, that's a good partnership to be able to work with one company for 8 years and continue for that partnership to grow. I think that's special, and I'm proud of that one because they're friends, and they're almost more than friends. They become part of your family, and that's pretty special to me. So that one means a lot, that Stettler Dodge piece, and they've been great. And Wrangler has also been a great supporter of mine, and that started back. I've probably been with Wrangler and an endorsee with them for 6 or 7 years, and that continues to get bigger, and they've been a great support of my career. And as my career has gained a little momentum, I guess we'll put it, they've been great supporters, and so I really appreciate that, and that partnership has continued to evolve. And then this year, the Tomco group came on board, and I'm really fortunate and really lucky to have them in 2018 and to work with them. And again, I love their idea. Like Stettler Dodge, they're family-owned and operated, small-town kind of feel, and they've just grown from there and done great things. And that's Rod and Wes Tommen and 2 generations of that family, and they do a great job. And they've not only supported me, they've supported Jim Barry for a long time. They've supported Ray Corrado, was probably where a lot of people will remember the name from. Ray Corrado, the chuck wagon driver, who's a friend of yours and a friend of mine. And he had Tomco as his season sponsor for a few years. And they're a great group of people. And again, really family-driven, family-orientated, and give back in a big way. They're huge supporters of Curtis Glencroft and his charity event, and I appreciate that. I've always tried to align myself with people that I think stand for what I stand for, and it's kind of family first, and very fortunate to have a wonderful life and a wonderful wife and family where we can give back, and that idea of benevolence, and it's a big deal with Stettler Dodge and Tomco. So I've always taken a lot of pride in aligning with those types of groups and those types of people. And I've been lucky enough to have some other offers, but they're just not perfect fits. And I want to be able to stand by the companies that I wear and that I represent. And that's important to me. And right now, in a good spot with kind of those 3 major endorsees that I have. I'm lucky to have them.
I want to go back to the Stettler piece. And you actually were you bought vehicles from them before you went and asked for a sponsorship. Like that was one thing Terry talked about, was go to the people that you work with and you're already dealing with before you go and just ask for something. Like it's a better fit or better transition. I'm not sure what wording he said now was, but But that's where we got to start with sponsorship, I think, and what that was what Terry said as well.
Yeah, I think you're right on, and I'm a huge fan. Terry Andrio is a great man and a great supporter of professional rodeo and so many other community initiatives. And he's a smart guy. The time that I've had to talk with Terry, I really appreciate it as well. I think he's really onto something, and Kelly Hicks and I have had those same discussions, and the Tommen family and all of that. I think there has to be that investment and that commitment, but that relationship has got to be right. And I think there's value in it, and there has to be value in it. If I can't really offer those people anything in return, and I know that's the tough part in our business, there's only so many things that are going to fit. And I guess when I say that, I mean, when I team up with a company, what can I give them without just taking? How can I make sure that Tomco gets recognition? They need something for their money. They need something for their investment. So does Kelly Hicks and Darren Benson and the whole team at Stettler Dodge, and so does Wrangler. If I can't give them that, I don't think I can expect just to take and take. So that's one of the things I think we have to continue to focus on. When we have those relationships established, how can we build from there? And I think I was lucky enough to get to know Kelly before we just jumped in, and it was kind of a cold call. Hey, I'm Brett Gardiner. Give me some money. Sponsor me.
Yeah.
Store like that. We started with a business relationship, and then it went to a friendship. And same with the Tomco Group. I'd known Wes and Rod and met them, really, I think probably the first time at the Glencross event 5 or 6 years ago. And then again, Wes has a son that's the same age as my son, and they played hockey together, and it was, again, a relationship first. And then we worked through. It didn't happen overnight. It took some time to make sure that all parties involved were taken care of and that everybody was getting their value, and I was able to kind of deliver on my end of the bargain too.
I want to jump now to everything you're juggling between 3 kids, teaching school during the week, rodeoing on the weekends, making sure your sponsors are happy.
Right.
How the hell do you make it work, man? Like, I mean, I don't know how I handle my stuff. I had a nervous breakdown and had an anxiety attack and had panic attacks and stuff, and like I didn't do half the stuff you were doing. I had trouble. Like, how the hell do you handle everything?
I married way above my head, man. And my wife, Jacqueline, is she's like our team manager, and she's phenomenal, and she kind of keeps it all together. And I'm just not saying that. And those people that listen to this that know my wife and how my family works, they'll quickly agree. She's incredible and really makes it happen. And without her, it wouldn't. And I mean every word of that. I've taught school for the past 10 or 11 years in Sylvan Lake, and some people don't know that. Not that I hide, one life from the other. It's just I don't necessarily find myself bringing it up all the time. I'm not announcing a rodeo talking about being a school teacher and vice versa. But those 2 careers can be kind of busy, and with 120 or 130 performances and 40 weekends on the road and 3 kids, it gets busy. But, everybody's busy. Everybody's got a lot on the go. And for me, it comes and gets me sometimes. By the end of August, after Armstrong and during Armstrong and leading up to it, that was one where I'm like, whew, I'm at one of the greatest rodeos in the world. But there's days it feels like a job.
Yeah.
And it gets you. But I'm also very blessed, and I have this incredible life. And when I go back and try and gain that perspective and remember what I have, it's pretty easy to get up in the morning and go attack the day. A lot of it is my perspective and my outlook and my support system, and it all works. So I'm lucky to have it. But I'm also a big kind of motivational self-talker type person, because there's times I get down for sure, and we've all been there. It's 3 a.m. and you're driving home, and you get home at 4 or 5 a.m, and you got to go work your other job. You got to be at a high school staff meeting at 8 a.m. You got 2 hours of sleep, and then you got to go teach a math class and a phys ed class. But I'm just remind myself how lucky I am and how fortunate I am, and really blessed to do what I do. And for me, it's a big mindset thing. I really like to know that I always say embrace the grind. I'm going to try and outwork you and try and outgrind you. And I hope that doesn't sound egotistical. That's just often how I have to kind of talk to myself and say, hey, man, it's time to go to work and support your family and do your job and do the best job that you can do, whether it's Tuesday afternoon teaching school or whether it's, Saturday afternoon at the Calgary Stampede. It's my job to go do the best and be the best version of myself that I can, whether it be for a student that's got their educational career on the line or whether it's for a rodeo fan that's invested their hard-earned money and they spend $50 for a rodeo ticket, and they deserve the best version of me too. So I take a lot of pride in that, and I think that pressure is a privilege. When we get that pressure and when we're able to be on those big stages and have those big moments, for me, I think that's a real privilege, and I take it seriously, and I try and do the best job I can. So for me, that good mindset and that incredible support system, without Jacqueline and my kids and my extended family, I've got a huge support system that makes it all happen. And yeah, really a team effort, I guess.
Talking about big moments, tell us about that car sale the other day in Red Deer.
That's sure gaining some momentum, isn't it? It's phenomenal. That was really cool, and that's another piece of the puzzle that some people maybe don't know about. And if we go back in time again, a good friend of mine, his name's Todd Schwint, and he owns EG Auctions, and he started an auction company. He was a big collector car fan, and he started that company, I'm going to say, almost 15 years ago. I better be careful in the timeline, but right around 15 years ago. And I actually taught school with Todd. He was a social studies teacher at the high school, and a really neat guy and a good friend of mine. And we kind of hung out at school, and he had this on the side, and it was kind of like almost my situation. He was juggling two careers and making it work. And then it got to the point where EG Auctions just kind of took over and became his full-time job, and he left school. But we have 4 a year in Alberta, usually 2 in Red Deer, 1 in the spring, 1 in the fall, and then 1 in Edmonton and 1 in Calgary. And they're collector car auctions, and I work usually the 2 Red Deer shows is what I'm able to fit in my schedule. And it started 10 or 11 years ago, and it just started. We were having fun one night, and I said that I started to announce rodeos, and he said, hey, well, I need a guy at the car auction. And it wasn't as big a scale yet, the car auction. So I started to do it, and I did a few, and then I got away from it for a few years. And as he kind of grew, he said, hey, we'd love to have you back. You really add to our show. So I've been with them kind of for the last 4 or 5 years, and I work with a gentleman by the name of Rod Burnett, who's the auctioneer there, among some others, but Rod's a very talented auctioneer. And this situation that you're talking about at our last event a couple weeks ago, and a sad one to say the least, but a mom and a dad, husband and wife, they were going for one of the last rides, of the year, or I shouldn't say they were in the spring, I'm sorry, not in the fall, but they were out on a motorbike and got in a collision, and a head-on collision, and they were both killed instantly. And they left behind 2 young children, and both the children kind of suffered from some hearing loss when they were born, and they have hearing aids and a couple medical things that go with it. They're 2 wonderful young kids. But with that, they would end up being left in the care of their grandparents. And one of the loves of the father was always classic cars, and it's something he really liked. And he had a classic car, and his dream was to give it to his son when he turned 18. But that dream, as we said when we were at the sale, kind of had to go away. And what actually happened is we were putting the car up for auction at the EG Auctions event, and it would be sold as a fundraiser for the grandparents to help them raise the 2 young kids, because that comes with cost, and they have some added cost because of their hearing issues. So we just kind of set it up, and I did the best job I could to kind of tell the story, and Grandpa and Grandma and the grandson and granddaughter came with us on stage, and the car came across the block, and it was an emotional moment, and I was really proud of everybody on that EG Auctions team and then everybody in the crowd with how it unfolded after that, because it definitely exceeded expectations of what we thought the car would bring. And what happened is we told the story, and emotions kind of overtook everybody, and they sold the car for, I think, $26,000 or $28,000 the first time. And it was to a gentleman, Rod McWilliam, who owns Red Deer Motors, who's a great supporter of the Ponoka Stampede as well, for a rodeo connection, and is good friends with the Vold family, among others. But and as soon as he bought the car, he just said, sell it again. So he bought it, and then we sold it again. And then a gentleman by the name of Danny Fayette bought the car, who's a car dealer in Edmonton. He bought it for $28,000 to sell it again. And so we'd raised almost $60,000, right around $55,000. And then a gentleman out of Red Deer, I believe Bulldog Metals, bought it again for 20-some thousand. So, and then as they're selling, donations were coming in. So we'd raised about $100,000 in about a 3-minute time span. And then to end the story, the last gentleman that bought it for the third time actually went and gave it back to the family, so that little boy could have it when he was 18. So it was a really good moment, and it was pretty special to be a part of. It was something that I really didn't see coming, and I don't think anybody on that EG Auctions team saw it coming that day. So it was one of those really nice surprises that makes you feel good and feel good to be a part of it, because you know that you genuinely helped someone that could use it. It's an absolutely horrific story, and as a father, it's just, it's gut-wrenching. You can't even imagine what that would feel like for kids, grandparents, fathers, mothers, whatever you want to look at. So, it was quite a moment, and then some people videoed it and, got a couple million views and kind of taken off on Facebook and stuff. So, which is good for the family, because donations keep coming in, and there's a wonderful amount of support where it's needed. And so nobody ever thought that they would sell a 73 Parisian for what they did, and it gained all the momentum, but we're happy it did. And again, those are incredible moments that you remember for a long time, and we're lucky to be a part of them.
I'm at a loss where to go from here, but what came to mind for me at that point was the opening we did for Ty in Lethbridge.
Yeah.
And the emotion that went with that one, and as with your job as an announcer, like, you have to go to those places different times, and I want to talk about that a little bit. I just want to touch on that a little bit.
That was a tough one. You bring back the Thai opening, and I think, and you can chime in on this too, I get more compliments, maybe not compliments, but more comments on that opening, and still to this day, I'm not sure there's a week goes by that, people don't say, wow, I saw that Thai opening, and it was everything. I think it was so good because Ty was such an incredible person. That's why. Ty was a phenomenal human being, and a very good friend of yours and a good friend of mine. And it was, it was a tough day. It was a tough day, but the team came together, and you absolutely nailed it. And Pete Brad, a name that we've mentioned of, and I think Pete Brad is probably the most underrated member of our team, and he's the guy that a lot of people don't often hear about, but as our kind of production lead and show caller, whatever title you want to give him, that was really his brainchild, and he came up with a lot of those concepts and a lot of those words, and him and I have been lucky enough to work together, and it was, emotional as it was, and sometimes you kind of got to go down the rabbit hole, and I've never taken an acting class in my life, but I assume somebody asked me, how do you go there? And I had the same question after that auction. How do you keep it together? It's like kind of almost like method acting, I think, is what I convinced myself. You just kind of flip that switch and you try and contain your emotions as best you can. But with that being said, emotion is okay. And there's a time in the Posabon piece, right off the beginning, I had a big lump in my throat right when it started, and it was tough. And what felt for me it felt like I didn't say a word for 5 minutes when I was on that stage. When we watched it back, and I think you and I watched it back together, it wasn't 5 minutes, thank goodness. But and it's real. He was my friend, and I miss him, and it was emotional. But I also convinced myself that I want to do a good job for him because he deserved it. And I wanted to do a good job for that family because the better job I did, hopefully they could raise a little more money. So I just try and gain the right outlook. And you think of Bob Tallman, who Bob will go down as the greatest rodeo announcer of all time. And really, he's so good because of his emotion, how he can control them, but also how he can let them go. He can be real and authentic. And when that reigns through, I think that's as genuine as it is, and those are special moments. So I think that's maybe how I get through it. I'm not sure if I answered your question, but I guess that's maybe my thought process when we get in some of those situations.
But I think, honestly, let's just finish with that definition. What's your definition of cowboy shit? You mentioned Ty yesterday in it, and I'd like to finish with that.
I think when you asked me yesterday when we were chatting about it briefly, the first guy that came to mind, and I don't know why, whether it was just nostalgia or what, but when I said, Ty Posabon for me exemplifies cowboy shit because he was a cowboy, and I like the way he lived his life. And what I mean by that is Ty Posabon loved life. There was a lot of times I remember seeing him places, whether it was 2 in the afternoon or 2 in the morning, having a good time. A smile on his face. He was everybody's friend. But the one thing that I mentioned yesterday and again today that I appreciated, his family was involved so much. And he always talked so highly about his family, and we still see it to this day. his family's very involved in our industry and the Ty Posabon Foundation and all of that. And I think Ty loved his family. Ty loved being a cowboy. And Ty loved living life, and he stood up for what he believed in. He would stand up for right and wrong, and I think that's important, having that integrity. He was a man of integrity, and I mean, he had a lot of fun, and he loved his family, and there's so many qualities I think that so many of us as human beings can take from Ty in his 25 years and take them and embrace them, and we become better people because of it. So for me, I'm going Ty Posabon was my example of cowboy shit.
With you explaining to me your definition, like I'm thinking back now, and I want to say that Ty would be part of my definition too.
Sure.
And he would be part of why I named the show this way, because he would have thought it was freaking awesome. Like he would have. Yeah, I think he would have been a huge supporter, and like, you know, I'm kind of shedding a tear right now thinking like, yeah.
Yeah, no, that's okay, right? Like we just talked about, that emotion's real, and that's a great thing about this industry we're in too. And I know we talked about it yesterday. It's you become more than friends; you become family. There's something about this sport and the way that it's lived, not just the competitive aspects, but as much time as we spend together traveling, and as much time as we spend together sitting in airports and sitting in hotels and in production meetings. And I always say it's like you're going to war together. And who do you have? You know, when we're going into an event and there's 10 or 12,000 people screaming at the top of their lungs, and our team comes together and works together, and it's pretty special. You know, we're part of something really special. So you become more than friends and coworkers. You become family, and you have to have each other's backs. And I wish that so many people could kind of be the fly on the wall from a day of what a production looks like and when. And I'm talking just from a production standpoint now of announcers and music directors and show callers and what has to go in to really make one as great as they can be. And it's a special feeling. And I always say that when you're rocking and rolling on the tunes, and I mean, you're bringing it and you're supporting me, and when we're a good team and we're on, it's a great feeling, you know, and I think you probably feel the same way.
Definitely. I'm proud to call you a friend, Brett, and we definitely are family somehow. So
you bet we are, man. Yeah, okay.
One way or another. Thanks for this.
Yeah, I got to ask you now, since you put me on the spot with the restaurant thing. I mean, I know I've drugged you around to a lot of restaurants the last 10 years together, but you better stick one on me.
One of my favorites?
Yeah.
Were you the one that took me to Nana's the first time here in Calgary? With the stuffed
you
burgers?
know what? Probably not. That was it.
Was that Keenan?
Vine took me to Nana's the first time. I wonder if he was the guy that would have took you there.
I wonder. I remember you and I have ate there before.
Yeah, we have. Maybe it was there. Maybe it was.
I think you showed us the
one. It was actually, now that you say that.
Yeah.
I think we were supposed to meet him there or something, or maybe he showed me there or something like that. But yeah, that's a good place too.
That's one. Other than that, though, where else would it? I'm not even sure where else we would get to go usually, right? Because you and I get to work. We've worked in different cities more often than one consistently, really, right? Like, It seems like we haven't worked any rodeos in certain places in consistent years. You know what I mean? Like, I don't even. The one we've worked at the most probably is Calgary, honestly, now.
Right.
Between the convention rodeos, and I'd probably have to just say that Nana's would be that one. With the stuffed burgers, I would think. What were you thinking? Where did you think I was going to go?
Yeah, no, that's a good pick. I didn't know what you'd think, you know.
Yeah.
When I think of burgers, I always think of the White Bull in Drayton Valley, too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, good spot. Breakfast. Yep. Greasy breakfast joint. That's good.
Drayton Valley Bakery is a great spot, too.
The best glazed donuts in the
glazed donuts you'll ever
north
have.
Of the 49th,
Yeah. You know, that's right. So,
heck yeah.
Good times.
Okay, Brett, thanks again. I'll let you keep going. I really appreciate this. So this was awesome. I had a lot of fun.
Okay, thank you, man. I appreciate it. Keep doing a great job, buddy.
You too, Brett. We'll catch up with you here sometime soon.
Yeah, we will. Bye for now.
Episode 22 of Cowboy Shit with Ted and Wacey was brought to you by the Canadian Finals Rodeo in Red Deer, Alberta, where the best rodeo competitors across North America are coming to us for a wild 10-day celebration from October 30th to November 4th. For more information, visit cfrreddeer.ca.
Hey, Wace, I thought you might be doing some karaoke here, like Taylor Swift style, because we're on episode 22.
I don't know about you, I'm feeling 22. Everything will be alright. Thinking right next to you. Fun fact about that song: when I did turn 22, I was by myself in Fort McMurray in my room, and I was getting ready to start night shifts. So I was like staying up all night.
Yeah.
Put that song on, went and got a little thing of cake from the little cafeteria, and had a little party by myself in my little room.
That was before Snapchat, so nobody actually knows it happened.
Exactly. Just a little party by myself.
You didn't even do it for the gram. You just did it for yourself.
Just did it for fun times.
Yeah. This is episode 22, though.
Man, it's a hot episode, hot song, hot singer.
This is Cowboy Shit with Ted and Wacey. Episode 22 is brought to you by the Canadian Finals Rodeo, coming to Red Deer, Alberta, and Centrium at Westerner Park from October 30th to November 4th. For more information, visit cfrreddeer.ca.
Or just show up, come watch.
Check it out. Buy some tickets. Come watch.
Rodeoing going on. You probably can't even buy tickets anymore, but you can probably come watch the rodeo on the screen next door and have some beers and hang out.
If you can get tickets, so that's gonna be it's gonna be a cool place. Like, there's probably not gonna be a bad seat in the house.
Oh no, rodeo there. It's gonna be a dandy.
So you're gonna be right in there. Good atmosphere. Big time rodeoing.
Yeah. And hey, our guest of the show today, Brett Gardiner, is gonna be serenading you with his wonderful voice on for the next 5 years.
Smooth sucker.
Yeah, Canadian Finals in Red Deer, only 15 minutes from his house. How about that? Get to sleep in his own bed at work. One of the biggest rodeos.
That'll be nice.
One of the top 5 rodeos in the whole world. Did you know that? It's one of the top 5 paying rodeos in the whole planet.
Fun fact of the day.
Fun fact. Number 1, NFR. Number 2, I think it's Houston. Number 3, Calgary. Number 4, CFR. I think it's like literally number 4.
Do you factor in the PBR World Finals into this, or is that separate entity?
Because it's only bull riding. Like you kind of do, but if you say like Western events, then you say like NFR,
American.
PBR World Finals,
American,
Houston, Calgary, Edmonton. Top 5, 6. Yeah, it's big. It's kind of big. Just saying.
It's huge, man. Yeah.
And it's in Red Deer.
One of the 45th Canadian Finals Rodeo. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Going to be awesome. Going to be good times.
Isn't it? What are you most looking forward to for the 45th CFR?
Like, honestly, I might be, I don't want to say it too early because it's not set in stone yet, but seeing all 3 Larson boys compete at the same finals would be awesome because that hasn't happened since we were kids.
Well, it's actually never happened. You haven't seen them compete in the same place since you were kids, but it's never happened in Canadian Pro Rodeo.
No, yeah, exactly. Because I think last time it would have been like either the CCA or the MRCA finals, and be the first time. That'd be, to me, it's a storyline. So it's one of the most. Hopefully, it all works out. It'd be good to see my buddies doing that. But I think it's gonna be fun.
Kane is number 13 after Olds. He won some money he won some money in Brooks, didn't he?
But so and that is that factoring in the guys who are not in the rodeo count?
Because Sage Kimsey's only got 3 rodeos. He's 12th. Joe Frost has got 3 rodeos. He's 6th. So that actually moves Kane to number 11. And with 39 rodeos, Kane would be at the grassroots finals, meaning that he's still number 11. Everybody else has got their count. Lonnie and Brock will get it this weekend in Hannah. And then you've got Austin Nash is only $300 behind Kane. Jake Gardiner is like $1,300 behind Kane. Then you got Nick Tetz is $1,300 behind Kane, and he's $1,000 and a little bit behind Austin Nash. So grassroots finals, looks like all 4 of those guys are going to be there. It's going to come down to this.
It's going to be tight. It's going to be exciting. Yeah. So for me, that's what I'm most looking forward to, man. It's going to be fun.
Heck yeah.
I mean, and it's good. Yeah. It's fun to go get together too. I mean, like last year, like everybody's around and you get to see everybody for a few days and hang out and have a good time. So what about you, man? What's your number one thing coming up for the CFR?
Well, even before the CFR, I'm interested in the steer wrestling race to see who goes to the finals. Right now, it's a dog fight. So from 20th place, that looks like the reasonable amount because they got to win they can win $4,000 this weekend plus Hannah. So they can win $5,000. So let's say the guy in 20th place right now, Ben Ramey has $12,689 won in the season. 12th is Curtis Cassidy with $16,144. So all those guys in between have a spot. 12, 13, 14. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 guys trying to make finals with those last few spots. Like it's all the way up to number 6 is within reach of number 16 right now. 6 and 16 are only separated by $4,000.
That's cool. And I mean, and even like another one is the Rookie of the Year race. I checked within like $100.
Let's go down to that. I've got it right here, right now. Let's check it out. All around. There's another one too. Jake Gardiner can make the CFR this week, and Luke G, I believe. I don't know if he's qualified at all. It might be a end of the year all around race this year. That's going to be interesting.
Nice.
Could be something that hasn't happened in a while. Luke G, 17th in the bull ride, and Tyler is 18th. He's 3rd in the all around, but Jake Gardiner's 15th, so we might have an all-around race this year that's finished before we even get to the finals, which hasn't happened in quite a while, I don't think.
Yeah, for sure. it's usually just one of the Harden boys.
Oh yeah, Hardens, and then Kai Marshall's won it a couple times in the last few years. Yeah,
the Turniers.
Yeah, the Turners before that. So Permit Award looks like Cody Coverchuck's got that wrapped up. He's far enough ahead of Nick Tetz. He's got to have that cinched up. Dawson Hay though is right now under $52 ahead of Coverchuck for the Rookie of the Year.
Oh yeah,
and
there you go.
I don't know if you know this, but Dawson just smashed out at 89.5 in Brooks the other night in the bronc ride, in the open bronc ride, and should have given him a 90.
Nice.
If Lane Peterson's listening, just should have given.
Well, he's top 4 in Canada right now, is he not?
And he's a rookie.
Or top 5 in Canada. Yeah, he's having an outstanding season.
Dawson Hay is number 4 in the bronc riding. Yeah.
There you
He's
go.
19,000 out of number 1, but yeah.
Shoot.
A little bit of CFR preview for you folks.
It's gonna be exciting.
Yeah.
And the next pod we'll be able to tee it right up for everybody.
Oh yeah, she's gonna be a dandy.
Yeah, buddy.
So thanks again to our guest this week though, Brett Gardiner, and that's all we got this week, people. You got anything else, Wace?
No, man, I'm all good.
Okay, thanks for listening. We'll catch up with you next time. Thanks again to the Canadian Finals Rodeo, October 30th to November 4th in Red Deer. Sponsors for the next couple shows. For more on the CFR, visit cfrreddeer.ca. That's it for episode 22 of Cowboy Shit. Ted and Wacey. See ya.